looks rigged! It's a figure of speech, Morty! They're bureaucrats! I don't respect them! Just keep shooting, Morty!
The current issue of our favorite animated shows being cancelled by Netflix is something few could have seen coming a decade ago. This is because, at the time, Netflix presented itself as a platform for emerging creative talents to break onto the animation scene with their original works, since they were the only big media company willing to invest in the ideas and visions of these promising people. This kind of work system provided Netflix with a steady stream of decent animated shows for them to showcase on their ever-growing platform. This was very important because at the time, Netflix was in a tug-of-war with traditional TV networks over the attention and money of viewers, so it needed to do everything possible to reel these people in. They created a plan that involved mass-producing TV shows and cartoons in order to have fresh content to attract potential subscribers. The cartoonists would come to Netflix with their pitches, hoping to get a full show funded, and Netflix would grant them that wish and in turn receive new cartoons to display for themselves. This was seen as a very good opportunity because it provided a platform for multiple creative individuals to turn their ideas into shows, with the backing of an industry-leading titan in the form of Netflix, and then put them out in front of an audience. It was everything a cartoonist could ask for. And as for Netflix, they were quickly becoming the go-to place for watching content online, as they were well ahead of all their competitors in the streaming space. This run came with success for many cartoons on the platform at the time, including Hilda, Trollhunters, and unfortunately Big Mouth. The long-term consequence of this though is that it eventually led to the mass cancellation of so many animated projects, and that is what we are going to be looking at today. BoJack Horseman, Inside Job, Tuca and Birdie, Midnight Gospel, Bone, and Centaur World. Now I know it may seem that I'm making a shopping list of cartoons I plan to see, but these are all shows that have been cancelled by Netflix in the past few years, and BoJack Horseman is the only one that was able to get more than 2 seasons. You may be asking why Netflix is so ruthless with cartoons, and to get an answer to this, we first need to understand how and why these shows are made and how Netflix profits off of them in the first place. Netflix is a business, and like all businesses, its end goal at the end of the day is to generate more profit. They do this through a subscription service that allows people to pay a monthly fee to gain access to their huge catalog of content. To the more people who subscribe to Netflix, the more money they get. That means in order for them to make profit, they need cartoons that can either get potential customers to subscribe because they want to watch it, or make subscribers extend their subscriptions to watch more seasons of that cartoon. This season worked without much hassle in the early days of streaming, when Netflix was the major player in a relatively new niche. But all of this changed when other entertainment companies like Warner Brothers and Disney sent all of the shows that they were producing, which were being streamed on Netflix, to their own site. This, combined with the fact that other platforms had a better animated catalog than Netflix, brought up a serious problem. However, Netflix looked at this and were able to come up with a good solution. They decided to just start producing more original content. This would ensure that they had full control over it and they could create shows that would bring in more viewers. This seemed like a good solution at the time, and soon enough, they started commissioning people to create more cartoons to fill up the gap created by these media companies. This was the first major mistake as it laid the foundation of the downfall that was to come. This process was basically how Netflix developed shows and made money for them. So what happens is that once the executives have given a go-ahead for a particular pitch, the people who made it are given the resources that will enable them to create and fully fund the whole season's worth of episodes. It can be 12, 16, or even 12 episodes, but it's gonna be one season. This is done instead of episode by episode, and I'm assuming it's that way because it's more convenient. But overall, all other production expenses are also covered in this contract. This very risky move on Netflix's part is what puts them in a huge negative before a show has even released. There's more pressure on that show to be able to make all of the money that has been invested in it, or everything will go to waste. And I feel like this is a fair shot because you at least get a chance to publish your show without much financial obligation on your side. So even if you don't have a lot of money, you are provided with the resources to produce something. So now, the profitability of a cartoon is determined within the first month after the release of a season. If the show is able to draw in a lot of viewers or subscribers within that first month, Netflix would gain profit and see the potential behind it. So obviously they will then invest more resources into it to make it better and longer, in the hopes of attracting even more customers and popularity. But that isn't the case for most original cartoons. What actually happens is that they're not able to become the mega hits Netflix expects from them, and when this continues for a period of time after its release, Netflix sees no incentive to keep investing in it if it's only going to lose them more money, even in situations where that show has a loyal fan base and appears to be doing well on social media. If Netflix sees that it's causing more harm than good to keep it running, it will basically pull the plug on it and divert resources to other projects that have the possibility of making them more money. What happens next is that they cancel the show and go out to try and create a new show because it is actually more expensive to renew an existing show for another season than to create a completely new one. So why would they waste money on a property that keeps on losing them profit while they could potentially make a new hit that would get them even more money, more subscribers for half the price? So when you look at it from an economic standpoint, it starts to make more and more sense, even though it's not good for us, the audience. It is very unlikely for a show which has performed poorly for the first few seasons to suddenly catch fire somewhere in season 5 and start gaining profit. But a good counter argument to this is that you need to give some shows time in order for them to blossom and develop into great shows. You need to give them the time to build their foundation, to find the right audience who will be willing to support them. But you gotta know that times have changed. We live in the era of fast food cartoons, where each show is given a limited period of time to find its footing and become an instant hit like Rick and Morty, or they get cancelled, shelved, and lost in the sea of cancelled shows that never had a chance. This shouldn't be surprising for us to see though, since we know that animation is not a top priority for companies like Netflix. They want shows like Stranger Things or Squid Games, which are accessible to a wider demographic of people and can make them millions of dollars. We saw this unfold in full force in April 2022 when they were forced to cancel multiple upcoming animated projects and fire one executive of the creative department for Cartoon Originals, since it had just experienced one of its worst quarters ever recorded by losing over 200,000 subscribers. The executives thought that the best solution to this would be to downsize their animation department, cancel even more shows, and curate the rest to a much younger audience. This treatment of their own animation studio during this time of turmoil tells me that not only do they not care too much about animation, but they're willing to sacrifice it for other mediums of entertainment. And while it's not ideal, it is the reality that animation has to face, and we cannot do anything about it but post random videos like this on YouTube. I've done my part and you can too by sharing this video so that we can remind people that animation is just as cool as live action stuff. So if you wanted the answer to why Netflix keeps on canceling cartoons, this is it. And if you agree with what I have said and made it this far into the video, then I know that you probably enjoyed it, or at least found it entertaining. I put a lot of work into it, so if you could give me a like and a subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. You can click here to watch a video on the format Disney has been using to create cartoon hits for years, or over here to watch the resurgence of The Simpsons in its latest season. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Tune out.